Well, what's up again there, guys? Brian here, the Three Topics Gamer, here to give you another episode of my weekly Q&A where I answer a series of questions that have been sent to me over the past week. This episode, I believe we have like maybe 4 or 5 questions. I did get a number of questions, much simpler questions that I was able to answer in the comment section of the previous video, so I hope you guys have had your notifications bell rung. That way, so when you receive the comment, you can get it immediately. Before I jump into the, set of questions, like always, if you could, I really appreciate if you can give this video a thumbs up and be sure to press that subscribe button if you happen to like this type of video and would like to see more content moving forward. So the first question, I think all these guys are regulars. So we got like 4 questions, they're all regulars. First question comes from Phantom Cities, and you want to know, what have been some of the biggest mistakes made by this current generation of consoles? Well, I can't really say anything about the Switch because I don't know anything about the Switch. And the number of mistakes that the Xbox One has made have been numerous. But heck, that's been kind of Xbox's culture since it was first conceived. But I can say the biggest mistake that the PlayStation 4 made, in my opinion, was that it wasn't a backwards compatible system. Don't know why they would do that. PlayStation 2 was backwards compatible. PlayStation 3 was backwards compatible. Why would you take that away from PlayStation 4? And heck, I don't even like the idea of what they're doing for the next-gen consoles. I'm really disappointed that they didn't even consider wanting to make this system at least go back to the PlayStation 3 generation. I mean, trust me, my biggest library is from the PlayStation 3. And so I have to kind of keep my PlayStation 3, undusted. So heck, that's probably a console that I'll have to keep going back to every once in a while. I mean, that's going to be interesting. I mean, I have a PlayStation 5 and I'm still finding myself going back to the PlayStation 3. I mean, heck, I would consider that's probably its biggest mistake. The next question comes from Goku-san. Your name is a lot longer, but, you want to know, if I were to make... If you were to make a sort of headcanon connection to video game universes, which would they be? I wouldn't. That doesn't make sense. You want me to make a connection between 2 different video game franchises? That doesn't sound like a very good idea. It would be like trying to make some sort of connection between Marvel and DC. Yeah, there's some similarities, but they're vastly different and they need to work independently. They don't work well together. But if I had to, like if you were putting a gun to my head and I had to pick one just off the top of my head, I guess I would just go with Mario and Sonic, I guess, just because, I don't know, those are like the primary rival characters for the 16-bit console war generation. That's about it. I guess that's what I'd go with. Next question comes from the Batman from Gotham. You want to know, do I agree that video games are a form of artistic expression? And if so, what game, in my opinion, serves as a great example of this statement or sentiment? Yes, I do believe that it is I do believe that video games can be seen as a different form of art form, just like films. And I think a good example of that is a game like Shadow of the Colossus, which I think is one of the best artistic games, or something like Flower. Just games where it's not even based upon much violence. I mean, if you look at just Flower as an example, basically you're just a seat that's going around just blooming flowers. And there's music and there's wind patterns. I mean, there's nothing standard that you would say about that game in a video game sense, but it is a very artistic game. Then you could go to something like Shadow of the Colossus. It has very, very little dialogue, and you're basically just going around just killing these creatures that have done absolutely nothing to you. But I think a game like that is very artistic. And the last question of the episode comes from, I'm just going to call you Lindsay, and you want to know, can I please give an update on those 2020 matchups? Okay, Lindsay, I don't think you quite understand exactly how this works. As I stand right now, there are no matchups. There is no Season 6 as of right now. I said at the very beginning of the year that I would only do a Season 6 if I managed to hit my subscriber goal of 60,000 subscribers before the end of the year. At the time of this recording, I am approximately 6,821 subscribers away, and there's still a good 6 months to go. Now, I personally think that we're going to fail. I think we might get close, but I ultimately think that we are going to fail, which means that there will not be a Season 6. And even if we get close, I think the most I would even consider doing is maybe doing what I've been kind of dabbling in it. I would call it Season 0, where I basically just go back and look at matchups that I've already done and just do like slightly updated versions of them. Like maybe matchups that have really bad audio, or maybe do remakes of matchups I've already done. That's as far as I would ever go. But in terms of brand new matchups, they've been set, but I haven't begun working on them. I've not done any research on them. I think that we are going to fail this year. I generally do. I know that earlier on I made like a statement saying, oh, we might even get to our goal sooner, but I hadn't considered that, because everyone had been stuck at home because of the quarantine, that more people were watching the channel. This might be hard to believe, but over the past 2.5 months, I actually ended up getting more subscribers in that 2.5 months than I did the entire last year. But heck, those numbers have steadily started to decline. Interest in the Versus series has pretty much died out. Believe it or not, not many people are watching those videos anymore, and I'm okay with that. It's kind of giving me a reassurance that I don't need to rely on Versus series matchups to grow my channel. More people are actually watching other type of videos, and I'm kind of happy about that. I'm happy I can let go of the Versus series, because that was never supposed to be a staple of my channel. That was an experiment that just kind of ended up being more successful than I had expected. And when it slowly started to die out, I could say that, people aren't interested in these matchups anymore. I can move on to other things, and I have done that, and I've actually had a lot more fun working on those type of matchups than I ever did working on the Versus series. So as it stands right now, are the matchups already planned for Season 6? Yes. Do I think we will get a Season 6? Probably not. But if we do hit 60,000 and we do hit our subscriber goal, then I promise you there will be a Season 6. However, I don't think it's going to happen. However, if we do eventually end up failing, which I do think will happen, I do have at minimum 2 or 3 matchups that I'll probably end up uploading probably on the same day. But they're just going to be updated versions of older matchups, like me just kind of going over them with a different audio, but that's about it. So that's really all the update I have on that's pretty much the main update on just what's going on with that whole situation. So that was pretty much all 4 questions that were sent to me that I thought were good enough for the video. If you have any more questions you'd like me to answer in next week's episode, be sure to type them in the comments down below. But make sure you get them into me roughly around Wednesday, around noon, before I start filming the next episode. And like always, thank you guys for watching. You're awesome, and I'll see you next week.